And if you don't run, you don't get no tuition, right?
That's the way the system goes.
Run, nigga, run.
Till they ripped it away.
You were supposed to be out.
Out.
I built an empire. Starting back at zero. That ain't gonna happen. We know exactly who we dealing with.
If you don't give back what you stole, it's gonna get real bad for you.
Swallow your pride and make peace with your family. Because this isn't good for anyone.
Told you the gloves had to come off.
Proof. The CIA has been selling cocaine in the United States.
Even after all of this, you want to think America still cares about you.
It ever occur to you this is exactly what they want?
What's going on? We are back. Welcome to the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Niles YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key. And we are back with another review, and we got it. Snowfall, the final season is back, man. My boy Franklin, his back is against the wall, against all odds. I was definitely looking forward to this final season, man. Once again, rest in peace to John Singleton, you know, a creator behind this show. The guy who's pretty much had a lot of movies based out of LA, and him coming with this story, even though I have always spoke on this, I feel like I wish they would have been able to bring the person that they had based this show off of, as far as Freeway Ricky Ross, and got him involved with this. I feel like the show would have probably been a lot better, even though I do still like it, especially with season 5. Like the direction they went with season 5, I'll be, come on. But with all that being said, it still is a good show overall. Once again, rest in peace to John Singleton. Before I get into this review, I do want to speak on something as far as representation, not only in movies and TV shows, but I'm talking about as far as black representation overall, as far as television and movies. Because I just see it's certain people who be like, we have so many of these shows based around, you know, drug dealers and stuff like that, as far as black TV shows or whatever. Power, Snowfall, I mean, we've had Empire, we've had a lot of these shows, The Wire, which is a one, but when I talk about similar to in the veins of shows like The Wire, which it goes into, it dives so much deeper into just being a drug dealer show. This show goes into like the corruption in the police and the manipulation and the inner city, as far as the government, as far as mayors, as far as like politicians and all of that. And that's why some of those shows are important, as far as shows like The Wire, because as far as you talking about representation, you talking about real life situations. See, when you are talking about representation as far as like black people being in certain movies, like fantasy movies, for example, Black Panther, I hate to say it, and rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, but ain't no T'Challa popping up in your neighborhood, or a Black Panther popping up in your neighborhood, or a bunch of people from Wakanda and saving the neighborhood from inner city crime and drugs and all of that, as far as fantasy. In real life, these are certain things that happen, and I feel like it's a lot of people who don't know the things that happen with America and how the manipulation happens with America, especially when it pertains to the war on drugs. The whole Reagan era and all of that, the DARE and all of that, and the fact that a lot of this show, as far as Snowfall and even shows like The Wire, show you just how manipulative, I ain't gonna just say America overall, but just the system, how manipulative the system is, especially dealing with black and brown and just colored people all around. And I ain't even say colored people in that vein, but I'm just saying as far as the way we're looked at, especially when you talk about these type of shows in that perspective. Because it's a lot of people, if people that look like me, who has an issue with these type of shows or whatever, but I enjoy these type of shows. Once again, it's a lot of dramatization in these shows because they are TV shows, so they got to have that type of aspect in them because this is not a documentary, it's a TV show. So you're going to have certain moments or certain things happening where it's going to be dramatized for the audience because people are still watching entertainment purposes. But not only that, as far as them bringing in certain real elements, especially giving you information that you might not have known about involving CIA and what they was involved in as far as the whole war on drugs. So that's all I'm saying as far as people who say they have an issue with these type of shows, especially when they talk about representation with black people and how we look when it involves entertainment, involving TV or movies. That's all I'm saying. This is real world things that's going on. And it's a lot of people, and especially ones that look like us or the newer generation that's coming up that might not even known about these type of things that need to be on these type of things. The difference between these type of shows and a slave movie and stuff like that is the fact that people are not slaves no more. Give or take, if you talking about, if you could dive way deeper than that, if you're talking about the prison system and all of that, that's a whole different conversation. But if you're talking about literally as far as like roots and shit like that, like real slaves walking around here and chains and shit like that, that's not going on. So that's why, as far as my point of view, I don't want to see those type of movies no more. But as far as these, and when people be like, okay, if you don't like slave movies, this is the same thing because they've been doing this forever. As far as the whole drug dealing shows and this and the third, but guess what? It's still a war on drugs. Drugs ain't went nowhere. Drugs are still here. People are still overdosing, fentanyl, and all of this stuff still going on. These are real things that's still going on. That's why it's still important to have these type of shows and things going on, because this show ain't sitting here glorifying drug dealing. It's very much showing the aftermath and the destruction of drugs, especially when crack was first introduced. Like, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy these type of shows. I don't enjoy them from the glorification of what they doing as far as the storytelling, which I do like sometimes for the entertainment purposes. But when you start talking about real world aspects, I go back to The Wire. The Wire was never a show that was based off giving you what you thought you wanted to see. Think about the Omar death. We all wanted to see that Omar versus Marlo, but we didn't get that. We had this little kid coming in there shooting Omar because that's a real world aspect. Because this little kid, as far as I forgot his name, but he had been in the game for a minute. And now you are pretty much getting a point of view of what he's about to become, especially at the end of The Wire in that final season when you showing the aftermath of everybody who's about to become the newer versions of people we had seen in previous seasons, the new bubbles. That was the I forgot his name, but the little boy, the dude that was with Mike all the time, who was fixing stuff, but he was homeless, and you know what I'm saying, and he started doing what he was doing. Even Mike was about to be the new Omar as far as The Wire. I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to say, but I ain't want to get off topic as far as my review for Snowfall, but I'm just saying because it's always this conversation as far as why are we always getting these same shows as far as drug dealing shows and this and the third. I can kind of give y'all that for Power, because Power to me is not really a show that tries to go into like teaching a lesson here and there or whatever. I mean, maybe with the spin-offs here and there, you can get some, especially with Raising Kanan. I think Raising Kanan has a lot of good elements there because it has certain moments here and there where they are trying to show you like real effects of what drugs can do. Not only that, being in the streets and this and the third, it shows you the effects and the elements that it can have on a younger individual that's coming up in that environment. So that's what I'm saying, because that's real world things that's going on, not fantasy things. That's all I'm saying as far as representation and how we look as far as film and everything going on. But it's still other good films out there that you can watch. Best Man Final Chapters, where we got good representation going on as far as showing these wealthy black people just going through real world issues as far as marriage and things like that. Bel Air is another good show that's out here showing good representation as far as showing this good wealthy family going through real world issues that can actually happen. So that's all I'm saying. But back to the main review, man, as far as Snowfall final season. This is episodes 1 through 3 review. That wasn't a rant. That was just a little convo that I wanted to have as far as why some of us like these type of shows, and especially when it involves representation for people that look like us. My boy Franklin is back against the wall, man. And now we have the whole situation with not only Teddy stealing his money, But now he pretty much hit up his uncle and his aunt as far as they money and they business, as far as they drug business, because he went to Louis for help. She didn't want to help him. Not only that, she pretty much pulled the gun out on him, not before Franklin did it to her first, because once again, my man is desperate. That's one of the issues I have as far as Franklin moving forward in this season, because I feel like Franklin has always been in the position of being able to think and being able to kind of calculate his moves. But even with him being shot, like, he was still able to, like, that whole man boy situation, even the thing with Scully and all of that, he was able to still calculate his moves and pretty much put man boy down. Speaking of man boy, a lot of what he was saying in that speech before he died is coming to realization or reality. But yeah, man, you could tell that Franklin is not the same Franklin that we have seen in previous seasons. I mean, even going all the way back to the first season and him trying to get put on by Javi, man. It's just seeing the fact that this is kind of our first time seeing him vulnerable, if you ask me, because it just seemed like he doesn't have the next move. He's just going off instinct. He's just going off basically anger because he's mad at everybody. He feels like nobody has his back. He feels like he done this and the third for everybody, and now nobody wants to look out for him. Shout out to his mama Sissy, man, because we always had that good Franklin speech in previous seasons, you know, with him and Leon, or whether it's him talking to Louis, Jerome, them. But Sissy, she got her speech too, because with Franklin and his whole idea, it still seems like he's trying to run off in paradise with V after he get his money. And Sissy is trying to put him on the realization like, no, it ain't going to be like that. Not only that, it kind of seems like you still got this high dream and this hope that America still has some type of love for you. Sissy is on a warpath, especially after this whole situation with Alton, which I still feel like is alive, which I'm going to talk about later. But now, the whole situation with Teddy, him being a part of the government, it's a real good speech she give to Franklin. Because she like, you seen everything that's done happen. Everything that's done happened. Now, you sitting right here after this man done pretty much put your father in a missing persons list because you still don't technically know what happened to him. And after the fact that you done seen how the government done continuously treated out people as far as the cops. Look at the whole raid situation as far as what they are doing and ramping up. The fact that CIA is bringing in drugs, period, and using you as far as Franklin to do that. That was a good speech by Sissy, and you can see where Franklin get it from. And once again, as far as me even mentioning The Wire, you know, Sissy, she played a real good mother to drug dealers. You know, that's D'Angelo mama too. But anyway, man, Diamond. Oh, man. Franklin's two hit girls, man. They was pretty much in it, man, and I hate the way they pretty much set us up because you seen that they were mothers. And the fact that they was really playing a lot of emphasis on this in this first premiere episode as far as the final season, and showing the fact that how much they are mothers outside of them actually being in the game and involved with what they doing. Once again, everybody got to take responsibility for their actions. And the fact that y'all know what Franklin is doing. And even, you remember last season, he told them, he said, if y'all are not prepared for what's about to go down, you need to let me know now. Like, y'all knew what was about to come with this and where he was about to go with this. I ain't gonna front, though. I did not expect the Jerome to go to the extent that he went through. But it all comes back around to your girl, Louie. You can always even go back to, I guess, the first season when Louie went behind Jerome back and even went and helped Franklin out as far as him trying to get this work off, because you know he was kind of at a loss when Javi said you got to move this at a certain amount of time if you want to prove to me that you can do this, and her going to help him behind Jerome back. But even the fact that we always remember Jerome was somewhat trying to get out and Louis just luring him back in, always luring him back in. It wasn't just Louis though, it was Franklin too, because you know when Jerome had started his whole little music, his stereo thing, you know, when he was doing the whole speakers store or whatever, he was trying to chill and trying to get out, especially after that beat down from the cops he took Andre and all of that situation. Franklin reeling them back in, telling them I need you, the same thing he done with Leon. But once again, people got to take responsibility for their own actions. We all grown, And as far as Jerome, I feel like he has let too many times. He has had too many times where he has let people talk him into shit. Outside of Sissy, who is always, I feel like, done tried to talk to everybody with a reasonable mind, Louis is the worst of the worst, to me, in my opinion. Because even that situation with old girl at the club, when she was like, nigga, she left Jerome. She wanted to go with old girl. She was like, shit, I'm good. I don't want to do this no more, and this and the third. And then she got in that predicament with old girl. She ran right back to Jerome as far as Louis. So I feel like Louis is the real villain of this show right now, outside of Teddy. Speaking of Teddy, man, I did not see this coming as far as the whole situation with his girl, because I thought Ruben did get her as far as him catching her in the car. We get this whole situation that Ruben didn't get her. She got away. She just got caught by the police. Police, I guess, were harassing her or whatever as far as Teddy's girl. And he does end up getting her back because his whole focus is seeing that she got caught. And we all thinking as an audience that she did get caught, and now she pretty much being interrogated the same way Javi was. Nah, and he does end up getting her back. But now he's still in the situation because of the whole situation with not really knowing what's going on with Javi. Your boy though, man, Gustavo. We got to get to my girl V. Gustavo, man, I seen the trailer and I knew immediately this nigga's working with the DEA. Of course, the DEA agent is back. My bad, we're gonna talk about that. But the DEA agent who pretty much know his partner is killed as far as old girl that Gustavo took out because he was like, I can't deal with her. I'm not dealing with her. She's gonna set us up. But the DEA agent pretty much got Gustavo at the end of season 5. And now he's using Gustavo to get Teddy. Because, once again, everybody wants Teddy. If it's not Ruben, as far as the KGB, everybody else wants Teddy. Everybody wants Teddy. So, this is going to be the interesting situation to see what Teddy's going to do as far as not knowing, or do he know, because we all know how Teddy is, because not only that, he dealing with the CIA and them still on his ass, because he got this whole thing with having Franklin's money, and he still got that kind of his leverage as far as dealing with the CIA or whatever. I feel like it's gonna get to a situation where Teddy can end up faking his death and getting out of this whole situation. I'm telling you, because now that he done got old girl back, it is going to probably lead to that, because Gustavo is out here looking real nervous, because him and Teddy they are trying to still do what they trying to do, with Gustavo still trying to play with the DEA and trying to pretty much get Teddy to pretty much set up. So now it's a situation where Gustavo just nervous at all times, always nervous, because he's still trying to keep his family safe, because you know how Teddy is. Teddy gonna take your ass out if you trying to, it ain't even so much as Teddy getting caught up, but his whole dedication to the operation. Remember that whole situation when they went out there, him and his old girl, and he was talking to the China dude, and he was trying to put him on game, like, we are about this life pretty much. But man, outside of that situation, it's still really the whole war that's brewing between Franklin, Louis, and Jerome. And somewhat of Jerome still being manipulated by Louis, because he don't want to take it but so far. You always remember Jerome said he was not going to go to war with his family, but Louis is still luring him in. And then we get this whole big situation with Franklin pretty much going to Big D, who Leon left in charge, as far as why he go to Africa. And he pretty much want to use Big D to move the work that he stole from Jerome. And he's going to cut the prices down that Jerome, because Big D is already buying from Jerome, and that's who we really want to deal with. So when Franklin pretty much trying to come around and giving him these lower prices, it's pretty much a setup for Big D, because now he's pretty much letting Jerome know, like, yo, he going to go with Franklin if these prices right, but he wants to let Jerome know he want to deal with him. So it comes to a situation where Big D lets Jerome know when Franklin's going to pretty much send his work over. And that's where Jerome pretty much catches Black Diamond and pretty much catches Franklin's hit girls while they trying to move. And you got to remember, Louis got well, he ain't a cop no boy, but you remember old boy, he still got some cops that pretty much he got their ear. So he's using these cops, and they pretty much pull Black Diamond them over. But Jerome is in the car, and he pretty much gets out and pistol whips the shit out of Black Diamond, and he pistol whips her to death. I was not seeing that coming. Once again, you are really putting emphasis on showing just how I feel like manipulative Louis is, in my opinion. But I didn't see that coming, man, and it's a strong scene because it makes Jerome look real villainous, especially with the fact that he been up on a woman. But yeah, man, and you got to remember he still got some animosity towards those girls because they the ones who shot Louis. So I mean, but you can still see that he is not all the way good with this. Even the conversation he has with Louis, letting him know, like, I think I killed this girl, and he is, because he pistol whips her in the head with a fucking gun. But what really goddamn hit hard about that whole scene was the fact that you got to remember Black Diamond and old girl are kids, or they have kids or whatever. But it's really their friendship and the dedication to each other, because after that situation, that she don't even want to go after Jerome. She lets Franklin know that she out of the game. They pretty much made this vow where if something happened to one or the other, they would take the kids and they would just move on. So that's going to be interesting, man. I don't know if we're going to see the other one come back, maybe, but I doubt it, because it does seem like she's going to hold her word to old girl. Shout out to my girl who won't be on Mel messing with Charlie. But yeah, man, it's really that good conversation we get between Jerome and Franklin. But I got to talk about V. I had my doubts about V in the previous season, but after what she did, and even going into this episode, I feel like V is still trying to pretty much not only save herself and her child, but Franklin. But once again, Franklin is desperate right now, and he's pretty much letting not only V know that he done stole from his aunt, his uncle, his aunt, but he's letting V know he wants to use her as far as her mama's ex to money launder. And V does not want to be a part of that, because she not only want to do that because she wanted out, but she don't want to have reunite that relationship with her mom. But once again, your boy Franklin, he desperate. And V ends up doing this, and we finally get to meet V mom, and you can already see just from this first introduction that V mom is on one. She's on one, and she's a manipulative one, and she probably very calculated, and she probably very smart on her own. And the fact that you got Franklin back against the wall, I'm trying to find out if her mom's gonna get into a situation where she convinces V to maybe find this money, because that's the whole thing. They want to use V's moms to help them find this money. I got a little confused because I was like, is he wanting to holler at her mama ex or V's mom? Because that's kind of how Franklin was sounding at first. But y'all can let me know in the comment section, did they talk about something as far as V's mom's ex, or something going on with him? Or was V's mom's the main one that they was trying to get to come on board? But it's going to be interesting to see how this relationship go, because I think Franklin already got kind of his speculations and kind of his paranoia about V's mom, but right now it don't matter, because he got to do what he got to do, and V's mom is the one to help him do what he got to do. On the other end, your boy Ruben finally is wanting to get with Franklin to finally have a conversation about Teddy and what they can do to finally get Teddy to come in. And this whole thing is basically getting evidence to show that the CIA has been bringing coke in. Once again, your boy Franklin is kind of hold offish, but he wants Teddy alive. And he feels like if Ruben can do that, this whole thing with Franklin still being desperate. And I feel like he's not thinking clearly enough to really be like, nah, I want you to prove yourself as far as Ruben. Getting Ruben to do something for him first before he even just started to move forward with Ruben's plan, because I still kind of feel like it's something Ruben got up his sleeve besides just Teddy. Because besides the DEA, it's Ruben, everybody wants Teddy. And I still feel like it's something he has up his sleeve that is going to involve dealing with Franklin. I ain't got my finger on it yet, but it's something. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see how Franklin deal with this situation as far as dealing with Ruben and with his moms, because Sissy is very still much hold offish against Ruben as far as just putting Franklin in the crossfire. But once again, it's always those conversations between Sissy and Franklin, because everybody, including V and Sissy, want Franklin to pretty much not go at war with his family as far as Rome. I mean, this is Sissy's brother, they family. But once again, this whole thing with Franklin, he on the edge. He pretty much desperate, and he got to do what he got to do. Once again, you have to think from the point of view of Franklin as far as what he done to get to this point. The man killed his best friend as far as Kevin. He killed the cop as far as Andre. He got his childhood friend Mel hooked on drugs. Like, where did he? Like, how did you go back? He got shot. He went to jail. Got beat down. He done been beat down a couple times. He done had to kill. Like, what do you like? I'm looking at it from the point of view of Franklin. I am. Everything done leading up to this, but once again, Sissy always coming through with that logic, because her whole point of view is this not Teddy's plan? Which I don't feel like it is. It wasn't Teddy's plan at all. He was just trying to do what he was doing as far as, oh, so Franklin, you think you just gonna walk away? You think you just gonna leave? Nah, I'm gonna show you that I run this. Not only that, he was feeling some type of way as far as when he had left Franklin and the CIA bringing that new dude in, as far as the other agent who had replaced him that he killed on the last season. But yeah, Cissy all coming through with the speeches this season. And it's a whole thing with the manipulation of the government, because I'll tell you once that Cissy got her whole grudge with the government, especially after what she have to deal with Alton and his disappearance. Only that, man, Kane pretty much letting Franklin know, like, yo, we need to see some results, bro. Because it's starting to feel like you kind of holding office. Like, are you trying to take out your aunt and uncle? Like, we trying to take them out? Because you got to remember, Franklin went and told Kane that, like, Louis was the one that pretty much had him shot by the cop. So now, Kane, he has a lot of influence as far as dealing with the streets or whatever, and he has a lot of muscle. So now he's making his play. He wants to make sure Franklin is on board. So it's going to be interesting to see how Franklin do with this relationship, but we already see so much has been going on, because once Leon's introduction came in, it's kind of almost an aftermath of everything that's been happening, especially with Jerome and Franklin going at war. Shout out to the cinematography, shout out to Snowfall overall, as far as the show and what they did with Leon, as far as his character, because it's not only what they're doing with his character, but it's the shots and scenes we get. And we get a real scene in Africa as far as Ghana, as far as where Leon and Wanda has went. And you can see the character development with Leon, but you know the whole situation with him and what happened with him shooting the kid or whatever. He's pretty much out in the motherland, man, and you just see how happy he is. You see how developed him and Wanda's relationship is and how much of a different person Wanda is. But you also see that Leon feels like he has to go back to right some wrongs. Not only that, the things he's done, because you got to remember him and Franklin and Kevin, what they did as far as bringing the crack and introducing it as far as into South Central and all these other parts, as far as LA, he feels responsible. So now he still feels like that he has to do something about this. But Wanda, she like, man, we need to stay right where we at. There's nothing back there for us. You know, Wanda and everything she done as far as when she was on the drugs. Think about the things. We just seen certain things. We don't know half of what Wanda was doing while she was on those drugs. And then when they do eventually go back, we just see how the effect of who she was and how people are judging her and going against her, rightfully so, because we seen what she did to Mel. So it's a real good scene as far as episode 3 and Leon and Wanda and what they're doing in Africa, and even the whole acknowledgement and the things they're talking about as far as Leon and them getting that culture information as far as pertaining to Africa, and the things they found out as far as the enslavement and things they was doing as far as the African culture, and kind of similar to the things he's going through as far as in America and what they're doing as far as Franklin and him selling drugs. But not only that, the whole thing with them shooting each other in the shootouts or whatever. So it was a real good scene, especially with him and Wanda and what they had going on in Africa. But they actually end up getting married as far as Leon and Wanda. It's a good scene, man. It's a real good scene, man. And once again, shout out to Snowfall and what they did with this scene, because we get a lot of good African culture, but not only that, we get a lot of good backstory with Africa. Shout out to what they doing as far as representation. Once again, this show ain't all about just bigging up drug dealers or whatever. We get a lot of good messages in here. Outside of that, my boy Leon, man, he ends up going back with many warnings with Wanda. She trying to tell him, like, can't you help them from here? Don't you got connections with your money or whatever? But Leon wants to go back and do things face to face. Once again, he's feeling guilty. not only for what he did to the little girl, but the fact that he feel like this is a situation he brought into the neighborhood and what he has done. So, of course, it's going to be a lot of resilience. He's coming back to a lot of things he didn't know. The war between Franklin and Jerome, the whole situation with Big D taking over and what he has going on, because Franklin trying to kill Big D too because of him setting up Black Diamond him or whatever. So now Leon's pretty much in the middle of this, and he's pretty much at the midst of choosing a side, because even with that conversation between him and Jerome pretty much calls him out like, nigga, you coming over from Africa thinking you done changed, thinking you somebody, thinking you better than us or something. Like, we know who you are, nigga. You don't want to kill the kid. Like, reminding him, like, nigga, we know who you are. And once again, Jerome, they ain't thinking about family or nothing. They at war right now. They at odds, and you just got, Louis, man. It's just that look she got behind Jerome. Like, she always just making sure on some Medusa type shit. Like, she got the snake in her hair with, like, she turning niggas to stone. But, once again, people got to take responsibility. I just enjoyed Leon and his dilemma. Even going to the conversation between him and Franklin, which I really enjoyed because it almost took you back and let you know kind of that brotherhood that they do have outside of knowing just how different they are now with everything they done been through leading up into this final season. But it's pretty much Franklin even somewhat trying to, I ain't even gonna say warn him, but, warn him, but telling him, trying to save him. I feel like Franklin trying to save Leon because even Franklin somewhat feeling responsible what the situations done led up to this, and even with Leon and what he did, and him telling Leon, like, nigga, you need to just leave, bro. Like, if you ain't gonna choose a side, if you ain't gonna be on this side, you need to take your wife, you need to go right back on over there. So now I'm like, damn, what's gonna happen to Leon? Because you know it's something gonna go down. Even watching those trailers, I feel like Leon is gonna end up going back and trying to be the leader, or end up being back the leader after a major beat down or some type of confrontation between him and Big D. So that's going to be interesting, man. So outside of all of that, it's just going to be interesting to see how everything go, because Gustavo, he's nervous. I think Teddy is going to end up catching on, but I think Teddy has so much other things going on, especially with him ending up finding out that the Russians are trying to come after him and end this operation. I don't know how that shit went about, because Teddy, on the way them back on some plane or whatever, after they do what they do in Costa Rica, Teddy finds some needle or something. I mean, not a needle, but some nail or something. It's a screw. I think it's a screw or something. But it's something inside of it, and he ends up finding out that the Russians or whatever are trying to terminate the operation that they doing or whatever. I was just a little confused on that. I'm like, how or what led to him checking that or whatever? I almost thought it was something with Gustavo that he brought on there as far as trying to record them or whatever. Speaking of, Louis is caught up. This DEA agent dude, like, he got pictures, and it's everybody watching everybody. Because while the DEA agent is watching what Gustavo has going on with Louis and Teddy and them or whatever in their warehouse operation, Ruben is watching the DEA agents. So it's everybody watching everybody, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all comes to a head, man. Now, predictions. Where the hell is Peaches? It's like Peaches it's got to be some type of something to let us know what happened with this Negro. Like, did he go undercover? Did he get caught up? Did he end up snitching and started working for the government as an informant? Like, what's up? Alton, I already told you I think he's alive. Is he somewhat working low-key with Teddy? I don't know. Do Teddy got him locked up somewhere? I don't know. But he's definitely alive. I feel like we didn't get no body in there. And I always say this as far as TV shows. If we don't see a body, we don't see nobody actually being shot or killed or actually dying on the show, they are still alive. Last but not least, Lucille. Where the hell is Lucille? I know last time we seen her, Gustavo had some pictures or something for her. Didn't look like she had a little family or something, like she had got out of the game. I'm not sure. But is she working with the government, or do she got something going on where I don't know, man. I'm just wanting to see, or wanting to know what's up with some of these characters and where they at. I feel like it's still definitely got to get some type of confirmation. We got to get something. This is the final season to know what happened to these guys as far as Peaches, Alton, and Lucille. Once again, Alton is alive. I don't care what y'all say. We didn't see Teddy shoot him. Alton is alive. But I definitely want y'all to let me know how y'all feeling about these situations, especially with V's mama. Is she going to end up manipulating V into trying to get Franklin's mama and leaving him in the dust to get caught up with the CIA Teddy now. What's going to be the situation with Leon? Is he going to end up making a choice, or is he going to end up leaving, going back to Africa with Wanda? Gustavo is going to be able to keep holding it down, the DEA, or is he going to end up getting caught up? Ruben, in this situation, it's definitely going to be a lot of interesting things to see happen moving forward, and especially with this situation. But last but not least, I got to talk about the conversation between Jerome and Franklin, man. Damn, bro. That was a good scene. It was all definitely somewhat of a heartbreaking scene, because we always go back to that first season where your boy Franklin was out here just doing little weed bags for Jerome here and there, whatever, still working at the little convenience store. Once again, you always remember Jerome did not want to get involved with this, but everybody got to take responsibility. Like, you was an older dude, man. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to. But I do feel like he wanted to make sure Franklin didn't get himself caught up or killed, being that he was somebody he had seen things already before, as far as Jerome being an OG, and Franklin just getting himself involved in something that he didn't know nothing about. So yeah, I think that could have been somewhat of an excuse for Jerome. But outside of that, man, it's going to be just crazy to see how this come to a head, especially with what Franklin has going on between him and Jerome and Louis. Louis, man, I just want to see her go. I'm sorry, I got to see her go. I do feel like she's one of the main villains outside of Teddy. But y'all let me know how y'all feeling about this final season and these first 3 episodes. Outside of that, I'm definitely looking forward to see how my boy Franklin gonna try to get out of these, but I do feel like it's a dark, dark road ahead for Franklin. I just feel like he just looked so lost this season, man. Outside of him losing his money and him doing what he doing to Jerome and Louis, and the whole situation that he got going on with V and trying to use her as far as her mama and that, it's just going to be crazy, man. But y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feeling about this final season. It's definitely starting off way better than the previous season as far as season 5. No tigers in sight. But y'all let me know. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Let you know when I upload new videos. Other than that, we out. Oh, my bad. As far as that Franklin snap, before I get off here, that Franklin slap, though.
Man, I ain't got to be checking in with you. Oh, wait a minute now. You ain't gonna be putting your hands up.
Have you heard it? What is the 5 fingers say to the face?
What?
Once again, make sure you hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. More than likely, hopefully nothing changes, but we will be through for a live Scream review, 1996, the first Scream movie. So make sure you come through and check us out tonight live at 8:15 p.m. Other than that, we out.